Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. It is already Monday. It feels like I'm always on live, right? But I know y'all love me and y'all not tired of seeing me. But welcome to Queens, the show where I get to talk to five fabulous women from all walks of life. And I tell you, if you missed the show, the first one, and then the recap, then you missed a lot of learning, loving, and just female camaraderie. So I suggest you go back after this show and tune in. So, tonight's topic, and before I actually tell it to you, I need you to all share this live, share it to a friend, a co-worker, a Facebook friend, Instagram, IG, YouTube, wherever you are, share this live. It's going to be a great conversation. Um, Tonight we're going to help you deal with some things. I know we all going through something in life, negativity in general. We're going to talk about how to handle that, how do we face it, and just how we grow from it and how important negativity is in our life. So tonight's topic is growth begins where comfort ends. And you know we all like to be comfortable, right? So let me bring on my fabulous, fabulous panel. Remember, all the things that will be said here tonight are not the thoughts and views of Hop or IME Inc., but they still are valid. So let me bring on the panelists. Panel, are y'all ready to have this discussion?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So let's just jump into it. I already know how y'all feeling. See, y'all missed the behind the scenes. Everybody that's watching, y'all missed the behind the scenes stuff. So, all right. So let's get into it. So where I am is the hot seat. If this is your first time watching, where they are is on the panel. As I ask the question, I will bring someone into the hot seat and they will answer and you will take notes and you will learn or you might laugh, smile. Feel free to cry, get your tissue, get your wine, get your drinks, and let's just get this started.
Hmm.
So
Right.
the first question is personal growth essential for achieving success? I'm going to bring up Tamia first.
How'd I know she was gonna call on me for first, Lord? Good evening, everybody. Yes, absolutely. Okay, it's basic nature. Look at a flower. Look at any tree. You have to grow to get to your goal.
Mhm.
And you're going to start off with your seed that you can't do nothing to fend for yourself. You're not going to contribute anything, but that's your time to absorb the oil or the soil, the water, and grow. And then go as you stem up, that's you breaking out into the world, and that's you sharing your first little bit of light. When you finally bud and blossom, that is your time to now share your growth so that the next generation can come forward. I'm going to leave it just as simple as that because mm.
Thank you, Tamia. Let's bring up Lee next.
Uh, so for me, personal growth isn't optional. It's
Mhm.
foundational. So you can hustle all day, you can get the job title, you can get the applause, but if you haven't grown as a woman, you can't hang on to those blessings.
Hmm.
They'll just crumble around you. So I think it's like building a house, right? You have to have a firm foundation. So your personal growth is like pouring the concrete on that foundation. It's like learning your triggers, knowing what your boundaries are, healing old wounds, owning your voice, because without that, success is just a decoration.
Well,
Awesome. Thank you, Lee. Thank you for joining us, Toya. Toya said, hello, Queens. All right. So let's get Kanisha in the hot seat. Yay, Kanisha.
Don't do that. Oh God. Give me my question again. You made me laugh.
So the question is personal growth essential for achieving success?
Of course, in order to be who you want to be in your success, because your success should be something that you are comfortable with. Your success should be something that um, something you like. The success you're going for, wherever it is, should be something you're interested in. And in order to achieve those goals, you have to believe in yourself. And believing in yourself is digging deep in your soul to figure out exactly who you are as a person. So, yes, it's definitely essential to be able to dig deep inside yourself, to be able to find yourself, to be able to look at your flaws, the hidden shadows, to do things that you don't want to even touch and look on so you can move forward. Because there's going to be, on like, I was told one day by someone, like climbing a mountain, there's different there's different sides of the mountain. Like sometimes on a mountain you got those rocky places, and in order to get to the top, you got to go through those rocky places. So you got to dig deep so you can get to the top.
Thank you,
You good?
Kanisha. Wow. Yep, I'm good. That was deep. That was deep. All right. So Queen Michelle, come on up into the hot seat.
Well, hey, how is everyone today? You know, I'm not done yet, so I can't say that I have reached success, but I know that I can't keep climbing and growing and wherever I'm gonna end up if I don't have personal growth. I don't know everything. Today, I'm gonna learn something from each one of these queens, and it's gonna help me grow, and I'm just going to keep going. Because like I said, the final version of me has not been written yet, and in order to reach that, I got to keep growing and glowing.
That is beautiful what you said. Let me tell you. That was powerful, and that was only one question. Oh my God. So I can't wait to hear what y'all about to say with the rest of these questions. I get so excited, because I do learn as I watch the show. So this question is a long one. Up, here come Ariel.
Oh, come on, girl.
Hey,
Yay!
Ariel.
Hey,
All
Ariel.
right. So I'm going to go ahead on
Hi,
and throw
sorry.
you in the hot seat.
Okay, fair.
So the question is personal growth essential for achieving success?
Um, yes, I think absolutely. I don't know how, you start off. I mean, really, because you can grow in anything, right? Like everything should be a learning opportunity. So, anytime that you're either enhancing your skills, like meeting new people, expanding your network, that's personal growth, right? Um, and, getting better at that, learning how to make real connections with people, all of that, I would say also is personal growth. And then also finding in yourself what you enjoy doing and what you're skilled at, um, is like amazing. And when you know that, then you can lean into your strengths, recognize your weaknesses, and find people who can support you in filling them. So definitely.
Thank you,
May I?
Ariel.
Can I add on to that?
Yes, feel free
Because
to add
since
on.
you asked the question, I have literally been sitting here thinking. Also, what would personal growth look like? How do you recognize personal growth in anybody? And I feel as though like the best way to answer that would be if you are contributing positivity, if you are uplifting a community, if you are providing a welcoming and nurturing kind of environment. That's what good personal growth is. If you're doing something for a personal vendetta, if you're doing something just to fill your pockets with money, then you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. And that, my dears, is not growth, that's a rot.
Thank you, Tamia. Does anybody else want to contribute or add on to what Tamia just said?
Well, I'm back. I'm back. You know what? And I also think that part of personal growth, how do you know it?
Mm.
Is when you're not doing the same things, when you're handling a situation differently because, you know, what might have been right then isn't right, and you can be self-reflective and go like, you know, I didn't do that quite right. Why? And what were my real motivations? And you get that feedback from other people, and you're able to take it in. All criticism isn't horrible, but
Mm,
sometimes to be able to take that in and look at yourself. And then if you grow, and the next time you hit the same situation, you don't, keep walking into the same wall. You've grown.
I
Thank
like
you.
that
Anybody
too,
else
Miss
want to add
Michelle.
on?
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that too, Miss Michelle, because I'm a firm believer in self love, and you can't grow if you don't love yourself. So
Hmm.
you have to learn to love yourself. You got to fix those
Hmm.
things, like I was saying, those little dark spaces with. I know I call shadow work. You got to go in those dark spaces and fix those things that you're uncomfortable with, so you can grow and do those new things.
indeed.
All right, we building. Lee, you got anything you want to add?
I was muted, sorry. But yeah, I agree. What is it looks different for each person, right? So you might be taking really small steps, which is what you can handle right now, right? Every day has a different spoon quantity. So today you might have two spoons, and your success is that at the end of the day, one of the two spoons got done, right? You're not trying to force yourself into something that you can't handle. You don't want to overstimulate yourself so you can't do anything. So take the success, take the small wins. You're going to need them. The small wins equal the big wins.
Absolutely.
Amazing, amazing, amazing advice. Amazing. Thank you, ladies. So the next question, and y'all gonna have to listen to this one because it is long. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking.
You're
So
feeling inspired.
society often dismisses women as overly emotional. I know we've all heard that before, right? But instead of suppressing our feelings, should we analyze them to better understand our needs, boundaries, or unresolved issues? Why might that be important for personal growth? I'm going to bring up Michelle.
I was that one that I get mad and I be crying, and did people didn't take me seriously. And what I've learned is that certain things can trigger you. I've learned to listen. And let me tell you, you can say something and it doesn't trigger me, but I'm listening. And then someone told me it's like the calm before the storm, because I don't cry now. I listen and I get real quiet. And I reflect on, is there some value to what they said to me that really irritated me? And then when I give a response, you can hear me. But I don't think, but you also know from my response that I'm not a robot, but you touched me somewhere, because there's nothing wrong with being emotional. But I don't let people trigger me to the point to where my response gets lost in that emotion. So it's like, okay, let me listen, let me think on it while you go on. And sometimes I'm gonna give you enough rope to hang yourself.
Mm,
And after the calm is done, then I'm gonna come back. And I'm gonna come back with the full force of Michelle, where you will see not just emotion, but the power of what I was thinking, what I was hearing, and my response.
Mm, yep.
Yep. Thank you, Michelle. All right, Tamia.
well, to start with the beginning of the question, it's mostly men who say that women are most over emotional.
Mhm.
When, quite frankly, if you're not bringing emotion into any situation, then you don't have a heart and you're not human. There's no reason for you to be around. Um, I feel as though we definitely need to analyze our emotions, because our emotions are I guess a secret sign from something telling you what you can't physically or mentally see right there. And I guess it's kind of like a superpower, if you will. It's what tells you what's wrong when at that time. Um, then, as far as emotional and analyzing emotions and personal growth, once you get to a point in your life when you can recognize the faults that you've done, but sometimes that you've done some negative things for positive outcomes, and maybe you've done some positive things with a negative outcome intentionally. When you can sit back and analyze all those aspects of your life, it's definitely a great marker for personal growth, and that you can recognize your own emotional armory, I guess I could say.
Thank you, Tamia. All right. I think I want to call Kanisha up to the hot seat.
I, I had to take myself off mute. But I feel, first of all, society judges, for some reason, women as emotional. I
Mm.
often feel that men are very emotional too. They just don't show it in the way that we show it.
No, they don't know it.
Yeah, and like I feel like instead of crying and things like that, so I feel like society is wrong in that aspect because men lash out in different ways. Like their emotions are different. They may not cry because society has taught them not to cry. They can't show emotion. So they lash out in other ways like sometimes they fight, or sometimes like even with my kids, they play basketball. It's just different. But I feel like it's not just women, it's men too. So when it comes to the question was, but instead of suppressing our feelings, should we analyze them to better understand our needs and boundaries? Yes, I feel like we should never suppress. I feel like we should never suppress them. I feel like we should always analyze ourselves and learning to step back. It's called accountability, because sometimes we can overanalyze something. So overanalyzing something can cause your emotions to be haywire. So I feel like sometimes, yes, we should sit back, we should step back a little bit and be like, hey, let me assess the situation. And that's a part of personal growth because sometimes we can get angry real fast, just like everybody else. Sometimes we might want to cry. Sometimes we might want to fight. There's all kinds of things that people want to do. And sometimes with our emotions, some of us, we like to write. Some people like to drink. Some people like to dance. I feel like instead of going to those things all the time, sometimes we should sit back and figure out what it really is that we're really upset, or if what we're happy about, like analyze the situation. I feel like we're not I feel like everybody's emotional. I just feel like everybody has their own emotions. It's just viewed differently, but it's very essential to personal growth too. Because if we don't step back and analyze our own love for ourselves, I'm real big on self love. So we have to analyze ourselves, like I said, and take accountability. Yeah, I believe it is a really big part of personal growth, sitting back and stepping back to analyze ourselves.
Thank you, Kanisha. Lee, you ready?
I am. This was my favorite question. When you sent the questions, I was like, oh, I got this one. So I just, all women, all girls, all folks, whatever you want as your pronouns, non pronouns, emotions are not weakness,
Mm.
they're wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And anger tells me that my boundaries have been crossed. Sadness reminds me that I have value. Anxiety is my body telling me that there is something wrong. Something feels unsafe, and I probably need help.
Mm-hmm.
So when we suppress those feelings, we lose the guidance that our body is giving us. So I use it to think that strength may not be me staying quiet. I'm not supposed to hold it all in. I'm supposed to explain how I'm feeling. I'm supposed to tell people so that they know what mindset I'm in, because if not, then we're all screwed because I might not have any spoons today and somebody needs to know it. But the truth is that the moment that we learn to sit with our emotions and stop suppressing them, like Kanisha said, that's when we start beginning to make choices that honor ourselves. Because honoring ourselves, that's the growth, right? So That's it. That's this. When I read this one, I was like, I'm so sick of people telling me that I am over emotional. I am just the right amount of emotional. You're not emotional enough for me, so you should start stepping.
Thank you, Lee. Ariel, are you ready?
I love that, and I agree with you. I think, you know, our emotions serve a purpose. That's why we feel them. Um, and I am never an advocate for shrinking ourselves to make other people more comfortable. Like we're not like suppressing any part of ourselves. I'm a be bold, be big, take up space. And sometimes that means your emotions are the things taking up space. I will say that, and this is a mantra that I use, you know, with everybody, and it works for me as well. And just a confession, I am also neurospicy, so the emotional regulation piece isn't always super easy for me. Sometimes I gotta check in: is this the right amount of emotion here, before I crash out? Like, but hey, I am a firm believer that sometimes crash outs are necessary. Um, but I think what we need to focus on is not the feeling of feelings, right? We should always be feeling our feelings. We should be identifying where that's coming from. Did somebody cross our boundaries? But we need to always be aware of and responsible for our behavior, because feel whatever feelings, like, you know, you can't always control how you're going to emotionally react to something, but you can control like the words you say and how you like respond to people. I think, you know, understanding where feelings are coming from can help us be reasonable and maybe not respond defensively if that's coming up. But I also think that, like you, like Lee said, that sometimes like anger and sadness and anxiety, they serve a purpose to show us how other people are moving around us. I also definitely do not believe that women are holding, you know, sole ownership of being emotional in you know, in the world. Certainly, you know, men's emotions show up in lots of different ways and spaces. I don't know that it's acknowledged societally that that is an emotional response, but certainly that is exactly what it is. Anybody's angry, screaming in your face, getting sad when they get played, you know, any of that, those are emotions. That's anger. And like, we can see that it's right there on your face. So
Have they seen the gay community? Because that's a whole display of women's emotions and gay men, or and men themselves. Quite frankly, um, yeah. I mean, I totally understand all that. But trust me, when you see the world from both aspects, or excuse me, if you have the privilege to see the world from both aspects of being male and female in this world, I've truly been blessed to walk both sides. Men are certainly as emotional as women. The thing is society doesn't teach them how to handle them. With women, we have our mothers, we have our aunts, we have other women to tell us, because we've actually sought out that information and we've understood how to get that. And men unfortunately see the emotion, but they don't know how to harness it. So just like the Hulk, all that built up anger, you start smashing things. So I feel as though if we were able to teach men that it's okay to calm down, like Kanisha was saying, that it's okay for boys to cry. Yes, absolutely, it's okay. Ain't nobody gonna hurt you. It's just the it's the toxicity of white masculinity.
Well, I think that, and this is a whole nother show that we could go into, because there is that thing that, oh, well, women are emotional, but then there is that, and I don't even want to say it's a myth, but it's almost like a stigma of the strong black woman. So
Mm-hmm.
where we are juggling, okay, all right, you have these emotions, and then, okay, but you're also supposed to be this strong black woman. You're supposed to carry this huge weight. So there's a way that part of personal growth is to find a way to not lose your emotions, not let someone put both of those on you to where you're trying to, oh, am I going to be strong? Am I going to be emotional? But to accept and that growth of your full self. That, and then how do you then come back into the arena? Because life is an arena. How do you come back in that arena, not only for yourself, but for your children, for your community, by juggling these two. The emotion is a strength. Part of being a strong black woman is because you have to have all these emotions, keep them in check, keep getting that paycheck, keep raising those kids, keep fighting those boundaries. So how do you part of personal growth is finding that balance between the two to sort of say, yeah, I am that strong black woman, but you know what you said was wrong, and this was why. Or what Lee was saying today, I'm strong as hell, but I need someone to lean on. So you have to find that balance and recognize that society, you know patriarchy, society is putting both of those on our shoulders and not recognizing that we're big enough to carry the whole load.
To
Thank
piggyback off
you.
what Miss Michelle said with the black woman, I cannot forget growing up. I know I'm younger than you, Miss Michelle, but I can't be, I shouldn't say can't, but I'm not supposed to be the stigma of the angry black woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, like to make sure that I'm not carrying that I got to be aggressive all the time. And I've learned that with emotion sometimes and not being that angry black woman, I'm still given that look because I'm assertive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm passionate with my words and how I feel, but I'm not rude. It's just the way, because I'm real and raw. It seems like they want to call me that angry black woman so bad, but my emotions
Who's
don't come
calling
out
that
like that.
though?
So it comes out as passionate and assertive because I mean what I'm saying, but I'm not rude. So emotions and the way people perceive us as black women is definitely real, Miss Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, who is really saying that? Because when I realize it's mostly, dare I say, white people who are pushing that on us colored women. Because unfortunately, they were always told that they couldn't express emotions because they always had their husbands to think and feel and do whatever for them. And then we, as ethnic women, we have our own emotion because we don't take no shit from no man, nothing, nowhere. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though that was definitely a sense of,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say jealousy, but they couldn't understand why we were able to express our emotions and they couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though that's where it all comes from. Quite frankly, there was nothing angry black woman. I feel as you, quite frankly, are just a general balanced person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like in general that negative emotions or aggressively perceived emotions have been stigmatized in the BIPOC community in general.
Uh-huh.
Um, raising black men, like I have two sons, um, it hurts my heart to have to teach them that you can feel your feelings, but you can't always express your feelings exactly how you would
Mm-hmm.
like to
Mm-hmm.
because it's not always safe for you to do so. And that's the same for me. Like I can't just pop off and like cuss out cops. I have absolutely seen
Mm-hmm.
my white friends do that. That's not always safe for me to do. So I think, that's why I'm like, yeah, feel your feelings and certainly analyze your emotions and where they're coming from and, really do the work to understand all of those things. But you can't always do what your emotions are telling you to do in the moment every
Mm-hmm.
single time.
Wow,
That is
thank
that is
you.
definitely facts because I'm raising two black men too. So I've
Mm-hmm.
got two babies. So it's definitely rough when you try to teach them when they want to crash out because the new kids' words. Um, to teach them to humble themselves, to sit back and analyze themselves in their own personal situation. I get you have a feeling, I get you have feelings, and I get you have emotions as well. And I do teach my boys that it is okay to cry and it is okay to have those things, but sometimes you gotta sit back and analyze yourself first. Is it worth it? Is it really a time and a place right now? And having raising black kings is it's a whole nother aspect with emotions too.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. I fostered children. Most of the children that I fostered were African American. And when they had to go to school and they would see their siblings, get into a fight, I would have to say to him, I need you to step back and let them finish it. Because if you step into it, now there's a problem because you're the angry black boy.
Mm-hmm.
You're the angry black kid. I get these, your son has anger issues. No, he has abandonment issues, and you're not helping.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always advocating for him differently than
Mhm.
I would advocate for my other boys that would come through the house. So I understand that, it's scary to teach them how to drive and be like, okay, there's two separate sets of rules here.
Ooh.
Zero's going to be able to drive this way, but you're going to have to drive this way. And it was just different. And it really does hurt your feelings that you have to like teach all of these things to all of them. Like if you're all out together and someone says something, you're going to have to protect Jared. You can't let other guys mess with him because there's going to be a difference when the cops show up and they're going to pull him and nobody else. So it was always a thing. I think it sucks.
Yeah, and I think that too, and Lee, and I'm glad that you're part of this discussion, is because like we did sort of start talk about angry black women, okay, but in the LGBTQ community, particularly a mask presenting a lesbian, I mean, you got this whole other layer of
Mm.
societal definitions, like, oh, well, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that, to where you really have to be clear on who you are, because it's sort of
Absolutely.
like, it is hard to be a queen because each layer that we come into, someone is putting another, like trying to tear down our queendom. And so, that I see that too, working in the community, that, okay, well, who's feminine enough, who's emotional enough, who can be emotional, who's the angry black woman. Sometimes, Kenesha, you walk in just because of your hair, they'll assume, oh, she's an angry black woman. They don't know
Mhm.
you.
They
They,
don't.
they don't know you. So, I mean, it's like personal growth means that you're aware of all of these things, because we can't have blinders on. We have to know what's coming at us. And there's always something coming at us from a society that doesn't know anything about our queendom.
Mhm.
Thank you, ladies. Oh my God, that question was the question, huh? So I guess I should answer it. And I know a lot of the ladies on the panel probably are going to agree with me. I was raised to be emotionally responsible. That's the first thing. It's like Black Girl 101. Listen, you can feel how you want to feel, but you have to stop in a moment, think about why you feel that way,
Mhm.
assess it, and then respond correctly. Now, if you're upset, you want to get home and hit something and scream, you make it home and do that.
Mhm.
But that is not for outside. You have to make great decisions all the time, because that could mean the difference between life and death in certain
Mhm.
situations. So I do understand everything that was said on this panel. So, and I love how y'all brought in, the angry black woman, and then I love Lee's perspective, raising black children. So that was a layered question. I wasn't expecting the responses that I got, but thank you. And I'm sure someone's watching and they learned something. So the next question: what limiting beliefs were placed on you because of your background, and how did you break through them? I'm gonna go with Ariel first. I think she got something interesting to say.
I mean, let's all hope for the best, right? No, so for me, it's actually like one of those ones, and there's been scientific studies about it. What was told to me often and early on was like things like girls aren't good at math. And there was kind of like literally like I was less than or less capable than, and that I should, and I was always highly encouraged to pursue like soft skills. Like, and so I'm killer. Like I can, like any craft, like I want to learn, I know how to do all of the things. And my degree is in fashion design. which is really just kind of like engineering but with fabric. And really, like, as I have become an adult and like explored other careers and done all this coaching, I really would have been probably an amazing engineer. It would have been really interesting to me, but it was just never even put in front of me as a possibility because it was so much math, and girls aren't good at math. um, and those kinds of things. I feel like I broke through them because I've just always like pursued, um, you know like I said, education, learning, excellence. And so I'm really great at all of the things I try to excel at. And so I don't feel limited by other people's perception of that kind of thing. But I remember hearing that like so early, like, oh, you should write, you should do art. Girls don't, girls aren't good at math, and that's fine that you're not good at math. Your grades in math are bad, but oh, look at how well you do poetry, like that kind of stuff. Those were the kind of things like I remember hearing growing up, and from like everywhere, like inside my family, like from strong women I looked up to, all of that. So
Thank you, Ariel. I'm gonna call Tamia.
You gonna give me what I got a mouthful of Skittles, ain't you? Of course you would. um. Well, from the start, one of the biggest limitations that was placed on me was my femininity. Being the first boy of my family or my generation, a lot of family pressure was already put on me. And then when I started showing signs of feminine interests, playing with Barbies, it being in heels, I got bullied, and all the things that came with that. Uh, I went through a little chunky phase, and I got body shamed during that. So then body issues. But the biggest limitation is now become my biggest strength. My femininity has given me the strength to push on, and the fact that I've harnessed that and recycled it into something to give me this strength is something that only comes from personal growth. You have to be able to grow and recognize what you started off with might be what you finish with, and it might be the biggest prize you win.
Thank you, Tamia. Let's get Lee up here.
So, well, tons of beliefs. Um, definitely coming from an abusive childhood. There was lots of things that were pressed upon me to believe about myself. But I think the biggest ones are that I am too much and not enough at the same time. Right? Kind of sucks. I'm either too loud, too gay, too emotional, but I'm also not professional enough, not worthy enough. So for me, those are, and to this day, still really heavy things that weigh on me. And for a long time, I completely believed them. And I have days where I still completely believe them. And I have days where I'm a lot better. But I try to remind myself that too much and not enough belong to someone else and not me. They weren't things I said to myself. They were things that were said to me to make me believe that those were the things. So I try and flip the script. And I think that I've told myself that I'm starting this whole new book about, my childhood and the things that I overcame. And I think I'm literally going to title it I'm too much and not enough at the same time, because this is just like, it's that's what I think it should be, my brand with it. But my voice, my energy, my story, those are all parts of me, right? And they're things that I'm never going to tone down again. I don't care who asks me to, because it's the reason why people connect with me today. It's the reason why people understand me and can sit in rooms with me, even though I don't look like them or act like them, or, you know, I'm not straight enough or whatever. But I think that's what connects me with people is my genuine nature to just be as authentic as I can.
Lee, I don't know if you're aware of this. I wrote "Messy" by Lola Young. That's like one of the biggest songs that I can think of right now. It described your entire situation. I don't know if you know it. If you don't know it, definitely give it a listen. I think you will enjoy it.
Put it in my playlist right now.
All right.
All right. Let's call Kanisha up.
So I would say it says, what limiting beliefs were placed on you because of your background, and how did I break through them? I would say the only limiting beliefs that were placed on me because of my background were societal, because I am definitely the type of person that I don't care. Um, I'm gonna do what I want because I want to. But I love breaking stigmas. So I'm one of those people. Like, well, I should say, one of the biggest things in society right now for me is my health. Someone with fibromyalgia and Crohn's disease and should not be doing the things that I do. Um, And as of right now, I am actually in a full blown fibromyalgia flare, trying to battle my Crohn's disease as well, so that doesn't go off. Um, and I still went and worked out yesterday. So those things like that, battling those type of things with my health is like what? And then when it comes to my health, it also comes down to me being natural and holistic. So it was very rough for me to be on 22 pills a day for almost 10 years of my life and be natural going on. I know it's over 8.5 years, going on 9 years now, um, being natural and holistic and doing that with fibromyalgia and Crohn's disease and dealing with that with society, thinking that I look perfectly fine, because right now I look perfectly fine when I am actually in so much pain. So those type of things for me is like, you know what? You can have all the societal stigmas you want about me, but I've never paid them any attention, but I just love breaking them. And like I said earlier, like I told you guys earlier, actually being a official political candidate, I am love being, as we were researching earlier, I am love finding out that I am breaking a stigma that some people probably will start doing more often now that it's more relevant and more out in the public eye, is actually being one of the first Black women in politics that works in the cannabis industry. So those two things right there alone are just humbling to me. I'm really the type of person that don't care about what society thinks. I'm gonna do what I want when I want, regardless. Walk in the
Mhm.
rooms that I want to be in, change the atmosphere because I feel like it. You just gonna have to deal with me because I'm there, or just walk away.
Mhm.
Thank you, Kanisha. All right, Michelle.
Well, I can really relate with Lee because I grew up, like it's either not good enough or too good or all like that. And we grew up when we grew up. I think that for some reason, multiple reasons, that's therapy. Why my parents chose that we were the only Black ones in the neighborhood, so it's like trying that place to fit in. But I'm gonna tell you, after a certain point, when I was towards the end of high school, I was just like, you know what? I'm not making anybody happy. So I left to make me happy. And so to break all those beliefs, if it was something that they said that I couldn't do, well, I tried it. I might not have been successful, but I tried it. I went ahead and did. I went to be in places where they told me I wasn't supposed to be, to study things that they said I couldn't learn, to try new things. And that was just it. And eventually, I often tell people that time on my own coming into being myself made me the person that I am, so that later on, all those people who said, oh, well, you couldn't, you shouldn't, you wouldn't, you never would, said, well, damn, you know, because I did, So, I mean, sometimes I think I had reached a point where all those what you can and can't do had beat me down so badly that my only way out was to escape and then find me. And like how we said, like, are you still growing? I'm still growing. I'm still finding me. You know, yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mhm.
Wow, did I get everybody? Yeah, I think I got everybody. So for me, I think I have to agree with Kanisha. It's the environment that I grew up in. I grew up in Illtown. Y'all know Tretch. Illtown with all the rapping and the shooting and the gangs and stuff. So the limiting belief was you'll never make it out. You'll never make it out. You're black. Um, you didn't go to schools that taught you as many things as the white schools did. You growing up in a house with two people raised from the silent generation, which means they were born before the 1940s.
Mm.
All the skills I was learning was to how to become a wife. I wasn't learning how to become a business person. Even though, my grandparents would say, "Okay, it's good, but you should try to do this." So, just like you, Michelle, I just when I got old enough to leave, packed all my stuff, my children as a widow and left and started all over. I left from Newark, New Jersey and went all the way to NC, and I kept going and I haven't been back since.
Mhm.
So, to anybody that's watching, don't let anything stop you. You can change your situation no matter how impoverished you are. Trust me.
Mhm.
I was literally in the dark running um was cable lines from house to house to get electricity. So I know the struggle.
Oh,
And buckets of water.
I'm a
I mean,
firm believer in doing what makes
we've all been in situations, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If not, then you're blessed. But yes, Lord,
sense.
Well, guess
I
what?
remember
We
feeling
know how
that
to
twisting on
survive.
cable.
amen to
we
that.
we started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Hello, that's the point of being a queen.
Mhm.
Oh God. So the next question. Who did you have to walk away from in order to pursue your dreams and why? I'm going to go with Michelle to answer this first.
Well, I said I walked away from my family um, because I knew. I was like the middle child. I said I knew that they had an expectation, sometimes high, sometimes low, for me that I could never fulfill. And so I knew that I had to walk away from them. I had to walk away from them, and eventually hope that it would come back. But if not, sometimes you have to find your family. But I had to walk away from my biological family. And later on, it all kind of worked out. But at a time, I knew that was the only way that I was going to survive. Michelle was going to survive.
Thank you. All right, let's put Lee in a hot seat.
We can't hear you.
You're on mute.
I see it now. I see it. Everybody was pointing. We can't hear you. Um, so I liked this question. It's easy to say that I walked away from my family, which I did. Both my parents are now deceased. My mother passed away this summer. We kind of didn't reconcile before it happened, but that's not who I had to walk away from. I actually had to walk away from people who really liked my survival story,
Hmm.
but wasn't there for me during my success. So they loved being able to be like, oh, this is my broken friend. But they
Mhm.
weren't really good with being, here's my friend that's picking up the pieces and getting her shit together and walking with her head held high. They liked me down. And those folks, they love to cheer on a struggle because you're
Mm.
doing worse than they are. And it was really hard for me to see that, and that my thriving was hindering their ability to feel sorry for me. And some were friends, some were family, some were my maid family, most were my maid family. Um, and leaving behind the people that I had thought I could trust was really hurtful. Um, and it put me in dark places sometimes and made me have to reevaluate things. But I can't grow if people are putting their foot on me to keep me down. So
Mhm.
I had to choose which way I wanted to go. And so this is the best version of me, the rising version of me, the version that doesn't want people saying, "Hey, she's broken and let's keep her that way."
Mhm.
I want to surround myself with people who are like, "Yes, queen," and you know, not make me have to buy myself flowers and
Mhm.
you know, do my own thing.
Mhm.
Thank you, Lee. All right. Let's get Ariel in the hot seat.
Um, so I have absolutely walked away from jobs. It's actually how I started my business. Is walked away from toxic work environments, like and toxic in the way we recognize now, but not necessarily the way we really understood it then, like 20 years ago, where it was kind of reasonable that like your boss would give you like shoulder rubs or like nonsense like that kind of
Mhm.
like attitude and vibe and environment. So walking away from that clean, like taking some time to decide like what my boundaries were, what I was going to like put up with, like going forward, period. What was worth compromising, some of my own hard lines for, and what was not, was really important. And then also I walk away from people and um, friends who know me know that this is very, very true, from anybody who doesn't like match the energy I'm giving, right? Like I'm a show up type friend. Like I'm gonna like come pick you up. I'm gonna help move you from place to place. I'm gonna take you out to lunch. I'm a show up person. I'm gonna check in with you. But like if I'm the only one making the phone call, I hate that. So I need
Mhm.
people to match that energy with me. Like show me you care. I don't want to like always be pouring out from my cup, and never getting refilled from you. So um that's who I walk away from all the time. Like I am really firm. You get a couple of tries. I give one warning now. I used to not even give a warning. It would just be like, oh my God, I haven't talked to you in years. I know. Going through I know that happened. Um, but I'm so glad to see that you're living your best life. You know, but yeah, I just need people to like, to show up where you're at, and I think that that is a reasonable thing to expect from people in your life.
Thank you, Ariel. Kanisha.
Hey, so I would say I didn't walk away from people per se. I've actually stepped back and realized I've walked away from situations. I've walked away from, like Ariel was saying, I've walked away from situations that have caused the energy and the frequency around me to make me feel uncomfortable. And if I'm not comfortable and realizing I'm not comfortable in that situation, I realize I need to go. And it's helped me grow within my dreams and my goals for life because I'm not stressed out about something that doesn't pertain to me. I'm not stressed out about something that has no value in my life, that isn't helping me grow and evolve. I'm a person of energy and frequency, and if you're not giving that off, I'm not feeling it. And I would say one of the things that has really helped me was like a job. I've walked away from jobs that's let me know, you know what? I need to do my own thing because I really don't need this. Because every single time, as we've discussed, that I have health issues, I get sick. I get really sick because I can't stand when somebody tries to tell me what to do because I get frustrated because the frequency ain't right. Like, it's just not how I rock. I can't do that. So walking away from like jobs and like the situations with other people, realizing that the energy and the frequency is just off, it just don't vibe right. It's just, I would say in life, even now, things still happen, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good, or I'm not going. Like it's just, and it helps you grow because you realize I don't have to please you to be here. Who am I trying to please to be at a certain place or be around certain people? I don't have to be. I'll be by myself.
Thank you, Kanisha. Tamia.
So I think the biggest thing for me was having to walk away from myself, and I say this from my entertainer side. Um, when I first started entertaining, I had this big ego. It was I I shot up pretty fast. I looked good. I was able to entertain and hold an audience at such a young age, and there was already like a lot of pressure because coming out the gate at a certain bar, you have to maintain that bar at all times. The moment you fail, people start talking because that's what the people love to do. Um, so once I started getting better and better for myself, I wasn't getting better for myself for the right reasons. I was just getting better to have positive praise and to be well liked from the people around me. When I realized that the people around me weren't really there for me, they were just there for the temporary success or whatever light that they could grasp from me shining, and it was my ego that got in the way of not recognizing that they were not there for me. They were not boosting me in a positive way. They were not helping me grow. They were just a fungus, a virus just sucking what they could. So once I recognized that, I put blame in others, but I still realized that it was happening in just different people. So after realizing and analyzing a situation that it wasn't the people around me, it was me. It was me and my big headedness that ultimately showed me you need to walk away, you need to humble yourself in order to grow. And I'm it's very hard and lonely doing this by yourself, but that's the only way you will truly learn personal growth.
Thank you, Tamia. Oh man. So I guess it's my turn to answer the question, right?
Hmm.
I love this question and I find it funny. My grandmother always used to tell me, you need to be careful because you are going to outrun your life. And I am the master of walking away from anything that doesn't serve me. I have walked away from my family. I have walked away from myself when I had limiting beliefs, self doubt. I walk away from myself. I have walked away from two husbands, jobs, anything that, if I feel like I'm not growing, it's not getting anywhere, it's not beneficial, I'm walking. And I'm willing to walk away from anything in my current life that doesn't serve me. The only thing I'm not willing to walk away from is my children. I brought them here, so I can't walk from them. But everything else, deuces. So the next question. Uh-oh. Now this one, I think it's kind of funny because I hear it all the time in the public. It drives me crazy. It probably drives some of y'all crazy too when you hear it. So the idea of no negativity, only positivity is popular. But is it realistic or even healthy? Could embracing discomfort in so-called negative situations be an important part of growth and healing? I'm going to put Tamia on because Tamia is giving like, what?
Look, I okay. So the biggest thing I hate is, oh, you need to be positive. No, you want me to be make you comfortable. That's where the difference comes into play. It has nothing to do with negativity or positivity. It has everything to do with your mother effing comfort. That, quite frankly, if you can't stomach this, if you don't got the heart for this, you don't need to be a conversate with me about this. You don't have anything to do with this situation. Step aside. But anyway, back to basics in the sense. Simple balance in life, yin and yang. There's always going to be a little bit of good in a bad situation and a little bit of bad in a good situation. So, therefore, you cannot realistically have an all positivity mindset. It's stupid and it's idiotic. I'm great for you. The only thing positive really about me is I'm HIV positive. But aside from that, I can't tell you much. I come across very negative, but it's not negativity, it's realism. wholeheartedly downright realism that people get uncomfortable with, and they pass it off as negativity because they don't know how to process this. They don't know how to, I guess, react because they don't know any better. They're told not to know any better. That's what society is teaching them. That's why everybody is so quick to throw their phones in front of the kids because they want to calm down. But that's what the government wants because now they're having little mindless slaves to do whatever the hell they want. Here, buy this. Tell us you like this. Give us your money. That's all it is. So, I digress.
Thank you to me and Kanisha.
As someone who is really big on positivity, if you know me, that is my thing. But I am not in any way saying that negativity, I'm not saying that it's not needed. I'm saying that it's there because there's some people who don't know how. I feel like I'm trying to put it in the best words. I feel like if we were to spread more love, I'm a real big person on spreading love, there will be less negativity. But of course there's just gonna be people in society and things happen. So we grow from the negative outcome so we can grow. But I'm a firm believer in still stepping back and trying to give the most positive outcome of any situation whenever it does happen, whether it be for your personal growth, whether it be for your, in any personal growth, whether it be health, mental, emotional, or physical or spiritual. If we look at things in more of a positive light, which is through love, like I said, I'm not saying that negativity isn't needed. We would just have less of it if we all moved in the form of love and gave more positivity. Because the things that, like Tamia is saying, that she goes through, where they want comfort, that wouldn't happen. You shouldn't feel like you need to be comforting someone because they're giving you that negative energy to make you feel like that. If it was more of a positive energy, you wouldn't even feel that, if that makes sense. So I'm just really big on negative. I mean, I'm really big on positivity, and I love it, and I love spreading it. And I'm a firm believer that we need more of it. I'm not saying that negativity isn't needed. I know it's going to happen. We just need less of it if we spread more love. I'm one of those people.
Thank you, Kanisha. Ariel.
Um, yeah, I guess um, I would say I'm neither an optimist, a pessimist. I feel like I'm a realist. Like I hope for the best, but kind of prepare for the worst. But I think that there's no without that uncomfortable sensation, like where like I guess we talk about it like your feelings in like green, yellow, and red zones. I feel like you have to get to that yellow zone for growth. Like I feel like if you're never uncomfortable, if you're never like questioning, if you're never like having to take a deeper look, if you're only ever surrounded by people who think, feel, act, look like you, then you aren't ever going to have an opportunity for any kind of real growth. I don't think it's healthy to think that you can't ever be expected or need to confront like negativity. I mean, imagine like it to me. It kind of reminds me of that like I don't see color kind of thing that you hear all the time. That I'm going to put my head in the sand about the issues that don't concern me
Mm-hmm.
personally, and because it's like really like who can so like who could say who when we're trying to look at that like who can just be positive all the time. Well, it's people who are always living in the light of privilege where their comfort is the most important thing. So I think it's really hard to say as a black woman, um certainly a black queer woman, that um, that comfort and positivity are all that I can live in all the time. That's just crazy. So
Thank you, Ariel. Lee.
Yeah. So I call this toxic positivity, period. It sounds cute on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you want to be, putting your face out there and going, oh, look, I'm happy sunshine. But it's not real. It's a representation of repression bottled up with glitter. Just gonna, it isn't all light. Sometimes you got to weather a storm. You got to get to the grit. Real growth doesn't come from skipping the pain. It comes from facing it, feeling it, living it, and then asking what's it teaching me,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've had seasons where I've been full of anger, full of grief. Losing a wife of 30 years really pissed me off, and I had to work through that. There was nothing positive about it. I couldn't find a positive thing about it other than she's no longer in pain. But I don't remember her being in pain. I just remember her being 59 and then not. So it sucked. So if I have to be honest about it, I think it's toxic as hell to tell people they have to be positive all the time. I think that pretending that pain and suffering and people looking at you like you're wrong or people talking about you behind your back is not going to it doesn't exist. I think that that's just a delusion. And I feel like sometimes I need to walk around with glitter in my pocket so I can just throw it at people because yeah, it's just that
Do it.
stupid, and I just want
Do
to
it.
hit them with the fucking glitter. So this is
I love it. I got you. I
I
have glitter right now.
I would be stuck if I only thought about the positive things because I've had so much negative that made me grow to be a positive person. So here's my thing. You can't skip the storm and expect a rainbow. You just can't do it. So take the toxic positivity, shove it up somebody's glitter box.
Michelle, thank you, Lee.
I love that, Lee. I love that. I think I'm sort of like in the real thing. Um, I don't think you can look at everything and be positive. Okay. I mean, but you can be real about it. Okay. And you can look at it and sort of like, if you look at our current situation in this country, well, okay, we didn't drop a bomb on us and they didn't so I mean, there are good positive things that you can talk about, but there are other things that you have to address that are negative. And how you address that negativity matters because words matter, and you can move it towards the center. But you have to be real. Yeah, the sun is going to come out tomorrow, but it isn't going to rain glitter on me. And some tomorrows are going to be tough, and some tomorrows are going to be good. But how I keep moving forward, that's what matters. So all this like little positivity. Sometimes I'm not looking for little Susie Sunshine to come and always be positive. That's not me. I want you to be respectful and nice. Let's try to do the best. But I don't believe that. I agree with you. It's toxic positivity. Let's have some realness. And if we're real, we can see what really is positive and work through some of the negative.
Thank you, Michelle.
Oh, and give me some of that
Wow.
glitter, Lee. Give me some of that glitter. Pass it around, girl.
Girl, I have a drag makeup case
Oh
full
my
of it.
God.
I can bring you all kinds of
Please, and
glitter.
that's like the one thing that you can't get rid of in drag. Oh my god.
I have it in my living room right now. It's on my floors. It's everywhere I
Yeah,
go.
all up in my attic too. I'm sure. I know it.
So I
Um,
guess I gotta answer this question. This is funny, but I agree with everything everyone said and a little of what Kanisha said. I am a realist. I do not believe I find it very delusional to believe that you could develop coping skills without negativity. How do you learn to cope in life if
Mhm.
everything is rainbows? But I also, in a negative situation, I look for the positive because it helps me
Yes.
to cope.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I see it from
Yes.
both ways. Um, I'll give a situation like anytime someone dies is a sad moment, but then
Mm-hmm.
I take it and I take the opportunity to remember you for who you were. And I find the
Mm-hmm.
funniest moments during that time to laugh and enjoy myself and remember you with your family and your friends instead of dwelling in
Yes.
that negative space. So I say deal with the negativity, don't dwell in it and jump into the positive. But don't just,
Mm-hmm.
be positive, because that's
Right.
just freaking delusional to me. It's poor. You're not teaching people to be able to cope.
I mean, it's no different than somebody being in physical pain. Like you break your wrist or you have like the scar. Like, it's okay, don't worry. Put a band aid on it. You're going to be okay. Like, I'm bleeding out. Like, how are you going to tell me that I'm going to be okay? But that's how most people realistically think that's how you can be. You're going to think it so well that your leg is going to heal like that. You will not need a doctor. You will not lose your leg, whatever. That's great. Fine, but don't push that on me. If I want to be in my negative Nancy state of mind, let me be in my negative Nancy state of mind because it's helping me cope and deal with what I need to deal with. And it cut all this topic or this question brought up a quote for me, and it's just been resonating in my head. So, just um, you have no enemies, you say. Alas, my friend, the boast is poor. He who has mingled with the fray of duty that the brave endured must have foes. If you have none, small is the work that you have done. You've hit no traitor on the hip, you've dashed no cup of perjured lip. You've never turned the wrong to right. You've been a coward in the fight. By Charles Mackay. Baby, when I tell you that this is one of the biggest things, like you can't recognize being positive and show that or you can't cast out the negative and recognize the negative and always be positive. It doesn't work. So
And before we leave this question, I just want to say for anybody out here listening that it's so important to feel whatever you're feeling, like whatever you need to feel so that you stay here with us. You know what I mean? Like that's the other thing. That's the really negative, like that's the really scary side of that toxic positivity like thing is when you're not able to show up in that positive mindset, like there's like a little bit of a stigma to it. Like show up however you need to
mm-hmm.
keep showing up. And I think it's so important to say for
Absolutely.
And as someone who's like listening to this, and because I have a kind of a different thought perspective on positivity, um, I'm a firm believer in it's also the perspective of how you perceive the situation that you're in. So if there is a negative situation, if you want to continue to receive that situation as being negative, then being that I am someone who is in pain as of right now, it is terrible. So that is my negativity. But my positivity to me is I am still here. I am doing this holistically on my own. I am finding positive ways to help other people through my own struggle. I am still alive. I am still kicking. I am still taking care of my children. I am still working. I am still going to the gym. Yes, I am in pain. And yes, I have grieved before, but I'm also a firm believer when it comes to grief, as I felt selfish. I feel like it's selfish of me. I had to realize losing a really close family member of me, it hurts, and that's negative, because of how I lost my family member. Um, being I was 12 and she was my best friend at the age of 11. Committing suicide. So I blame myself for those things. And that is one of the hardest things for me to try to find the positive in. And a lot of people are like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And I'm like, but I'm trying to find the positive in it. But then I feel like, you know what? But I'm selfish because I wanted her here. Like, I get it hurts and I know it hurts and I still cry, but I wanted her here. And I have to realize, you know what? Let me just live my life. Let me learn to live my life in the way that I know she would want me to live my life. Let me do that for us. So for me, instead of harboring it, and I know that our nervous system works off our and the frequency of us. So trying to keep myself positive, it also boosts your serotonin levels. So being positive boosts your serotonin levels because it makes you happy. Being negative lowers your serotonin levels, and it boosts your serotonin levels and it lowers your immune system. So with me having fibromyalgia, and I do have two autoimmune diseases, which is fibromyalgia and Crohn's disease. I really try my best to stay positive because I don't need the negativity. So the perception of taking anything negative is like, nah, I ain't got time for that. I'm dealing with enough. So I'm gonna think positive, or it's just a perception of how I think of things. Like, I'm not gonna let that negativity get to me versus not saying that negativity can't be in my life, if that makes sense.
Hmm. I think the big thing here is that they're trying to make a new trend
Mm-hmm.
where there is a group of people who have um, the privilege. of being able to be happy all the time and have this positive outlook on life, and to brainwash people into believing that there's something wrong with them if
Mm.
they can't be
Mm.
positive. And
Mm.
that's the problem.
Maybe I
That's
ain't
why
paying
it's
attention to that
toxic.
part. I guess because
And
I'm so positive, I've never paid that part any attention. Like I see it and I'm like, oh, okay, positivity. I'm not looking at it in that light. I'm looking at it in a whole nother light. Like, oh, positivity. I'm looking at it in the way that I think. I'm
yeah,
just like,
which is normal, right? I'm gonna try and find the ray of sunshine. That's
Well,
right.
normal. This new trend that's going around makes it where it's not normal. You're not normal if you have a mental health problem, or if you're depressed, or if today you can't think of a positive thing. If you have one spoon or four spoons, there's something wrong with you that you don't have 20. So I think that's where this, question, or
Did
thinking about this toxic part of it, the toxic part of it is telling someone that they're value is lower because they can't be positive all the time, and that sucks, right?
did you just
So I love
did
that
you,
whole, I mean, I wake up every day thinking, this is going to be a great day. I don't wake up every day, thinking this is going to be a horrible day. That's
Mhm.
normal. But
Right.
telling someone that there's something wrong with them because they woke up this morning anxious, there's something wrong with that. So I think that toxic part is where
And
it
that's
comes in.
Lee, did you say that you said a part of this trend? Because I guess my positivity has literally got me thinking something different. Did you say it's wrong to have a mental health issue? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that this
You
trend,
about to be kidding me.
it's this toxic positivity is a trend that people who are at a privilege of not having the same kind of issues that, let's I'll just put it out there as plain as I can. When you come from a place of privilege where you're not broke, poor, black, Hispanic, person of color,
Mhm.
LGBTQ, a woman, person with disability, if you are not one of those things, right, you have a privilege that the rest of us don't have. So you can say, I have a privilege. I get to be positive. Oh my God, look at me. I'm so positive. I wear pink every day and I want everybody to love me. And this is great, grand, and wonderful. But that's not realistic. But you're
Mm-mm.
now making people feel bad because they can't come to your level. And then you're going online and you're making it a trend. You see it all over Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, where, oh, look, I'm Betty Sunshine. Okay, Betty Sunshine, I'm happy
Crazy.
for you. But today I'm negative Nancy. Leave me alone and don't make me
That's
feel bad
crazy.
for it.
That's
and
So,
also
crazy.
yeah. So, yeah,
That's
being
ridiculous.
positive is great, but so, the reality of it is it's toxic if you tell someone that they're wrong for not being able to
mm,
be positive today.
I mean, if you also look at the nation's capital right now in D.C., you have Trump bulldozing down Tent City and things like that. So anybody who is poverty or is like has no place to go, now they really have nothing whatsoever. So
Mhm.
that's what basically is stemming from Lee. That's the whole thing. They're trying to blanket this as, oh, everything has the silver lining. You just have to look at it. But no, all what you're doing is anybody who
That's
can't afford the life that you're going to push is going to be fine.
that's
Mm.
crazy.
Mhm.
Because even when
you
it
know,
comes to like people who have mental health issues, me finding the positive in that, I'm a firm believer that people who they say have mental health issues are gifted. So that's the positive that I see. And I work with people every day. They're gifted. Have you ever seen
Baby,
really
we know.
some I'm a firm believer that we also, even with our children in the school system, we we judge people off their behavior and not their abilities. And if we would look at people who have they say mental health issues, you would see how talented they are. Like pay attention. Today I took a picture. I can send it to y'all when we're done, of one of the guys, and he just draws, and it's unfreaking believable. And the things I play spades, like talking to them, you have to give people a chance, and you have to talk to them and get to know them and what they
But you
actually like. It's not necessarily a mental health. People be tripping. I didn't know
but
it
you
was
be
that
talking about
serious,
people
y'all.
with money. We're talking about real. You were talking about real people about real people. But we're
Right?
talking
I
about
didn't
people
even
with
know nothing.
money who have no business talking about the real life that they don't know
I
real
had no
problems.
clue this was a
Yeah,
thing. Had no clue this was a thing because I'm so positive with like everything. Like I'm positive, but I also know that life is real. You know what I mean? But I didn't know this. Y'all floored me.
Yeah, it's like the same thing. Like, why do we have to focus on history? Why can't we just look at the
Right.
bright future and the present and all the things? Like, why do we have to focus on slavery and that women
That's all
didn't
a
get the
part of
right
it.
to vote or own houses till 20 years ago? You know, like all of that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
because we have the right to vote now, and it's like,
Mm-mm. Also,
What? Okay.
also,
Yeah.
Trump now is he's got a new PBS station, so everything the programming that he is displaying on the new PBS is saying that slavery was okay, that they came over voluntarily. And
Oh, it
this is
was.
PBS of
Oh, it
today.
was.
Indentured servants.
Tell them
We
to try
came
it
as
now and see what
indentured
happens.
servants. That's what they're trying to say.
Okay, try it now and see
Kanisha,
what happens.
tomorrow, Kanisha's waking up like,
Yeah,
I'm going to
she put a
fight
whole new
toxic
positive.
positivity.
I didn't even like. I didn't know. Like, I see it. Okay, I'm not saying I didn't see these things, and I'm not saying I don't recognize. I just didn't know it was as big as this question, and I didn't realize because when I answered the question, I'm sitting here thinking like, that's me all day, every day. Like, I'm all positive. Like, that's how I believe. I didn't realize it was that toxic. Where that's crazy.
Wow. Well, just
That's
to
crazy.
add to it, the scariest part for me is when I hear young children say it and that their parents are teaching them this ideology.
My mother.
How do these children learn to cope? These are the children that may be the suicide percentage, going to raise the suicide percent rate. I'm telling you. Because
Because how are they
because
gonna
when
cope?
something happens, no negativity, only positivity is not going to work.
Right, because you're telling them what they should do, not how to do it,
How
and you're
to
applying that
handle
all
it.
this pressure, and it's like, well, I can't match up to this. Then they, I, it frustrates.
I mean, it's like how is anybody's skills of resilience, right? Like, how do you learn how to get back up again when you get knocked down if everything around you is like in cushions and like with guardrails? Like, and also let's be really real. That is not everybody's experience. Certainly, everybody's experience is not cushions and guardrails. But like for the people it is, it's like, how are you going to learn to get back up again? So
Y'all taught me something today.
Paige,
We
we
can't
can't
hear
hear
you,
you.
Peach.
Yeah, we can hear you. We
Mhm.
can't hear you.
No,
Hear me
no,
A
a
little
little
bit.
bit.
barely.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Mm.
We hear
Now
you
we got
now.
you.
Yeah.
So I was saying that these questions, I thought they were light, but they're turning deep. I thought they were surface level questions.
But this is why
Listen,
it shows that
y'all
it's the
taught me something
queens that
today.
we have a different view on
I
this.
mean, sure,
Mm-hmm.
All
sure.
right. Are y'all ready for the next question?
We think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, growth often demands that we go beyond familiar voices. If those closest to
Mm.
you can't guide your journey, what sources would you trust to help you grow? Let's go with Kanisha.
Ooh, that's a rough one for me. And I'm gonna say that's rough because I say growth, it says often demands that we go beyond familiar voices. So I'm not a person that's scared to go in places. I'm not scared of anything, point blank period. So I'll be the only black one in the room. I'll be the only woman in the room. I'm not scared to go. I'm not scared to do anything. For me, it's the trust aspect of it with the journey because I've always done things alone. Um, I've had some help here and there with certain things, and eh, this is a really tough question for me because my sources are always my own. I mean, I do know people, and I know a lot of people, and I can ask for help and guidance, but I still trust my own intuition. So it's just really this question's hard because the way that I push forward, especially me now being a political first time political candidate for myself and having to trust my team, this is rough because I don't trust people. So the growth in me with certain things, I don't know, y'all. Y'all gonna have to help me on this one because normally I'm okay, but This one's a little rough, even for myself, because I'm not a person to trust. I don't trust people. So I'm one of those people that I'm just like, I got it. I got it because I've always been betrayed. So I've always either been betrayed in some way, shape, or form, and it's just not. It just never works out. I will trust people with all my heart, and I love hard and I love deep, and I'm one of those people who will give you everything in me, and then when you turn around and just do something that's just like negative, it's like, nah, we ain't rocking with that. So I just don't trust people. So that my growth within myself is for me to just push to get through anything by myself. So it's hard for me to trust people. So that question is really hard.
Oh my God, me and my questions, right? I'm gonna put Michelle in the hot seat.
Well, I think that first of all, I educate myself a lot. I try to things that I'm concerned about, I try to learn about. But then sometimes I know that in order to find out about them, I need to go in a space where I'm not comfortable. I'll go in with my questions. I'll have a knowledge, but I'll have my questions, and then I go in and do that. But then also reaching out to people. Okay, a perfect example here. Um, I don't know why I saw something that Pierce had done, which I was like, I'm interested in that, and I reached out to her, and she responded, and it was good. We had a dialogue, and from that, here I am here. I'm learning something from you women, my sister queens, right now. That sometimes you take a moment and you put yourself out there. But I try to be informed. I don't go into these spaces like, hey, I'm Michelle. Tell me what you're doing. No, yeah, I sort of go in and I have questions. I'm not afraid to ask the questions, um, knowing that sometimes it means that some people might not like me after I ask the questions, but I'm going to get that knowledge from them. So it's the things that I'm interested, things I'm concerned about. um, I'm going to reach out to people. And if they don't give me the answer, then I'm going to look for another source till I get to the answer that I'm looking for. Educate yourself. And you know what? Take a chance. And I have been fortunate. Like over since 2017, I've done a podcast and I have talked to some phenomenal people who didn't have to talk to me, but I learned from them. And some of them have gone on to become close confidants and friends. So, hey, sometimes you fill yourself up with as much knowledge and then reach out in ways that are safe. I'm not going crazy, but reach out in a way that are safe and then be open to the possibilities. And like I said, I will forever be grateful to Pierce for when I asked, she said yes. And we had this great dialogue, which has led me to this. And now I'm meeting you women.
Thank you, Michelle. Ariel.
So this is one that comes up for me a lot. Well, I mean, it used to come up for me a lot personally, but when I'm guiding like We 360 participants in my program, is you gotta sometimes really audit your circle, right? For the people like Lee described who wanna give you a hand up when you're down, but don't really want to cheer for you in your success. And and anybody like, so if you've ever had the person who is asking for a discount when you're just starting your business, that's who I'm talking about. Like you have to really
Mm-hmm.
look at those people and say, if you really wanted me to be successful, you would be trying to give me extra. Like you would not be trying to take out of my pocket right now. And so I think like that is like to go beyond those kind of familiar voices. Sometimes, if you're surrounded by the kind of people who aren't really wishing for your true success, is like sometimes you have to go, like you said, go to strangers, like be on the internet, like crowdsource your product, your business. Get out of the familiar people who might not really want to see you thrive, especially if they're not thriving, right? Like that's just the truth of it sometimes. um I say find programs, find other women in business doing what you do, find podcasts like this. Um, just to kind of see, a light in the dark, to know that you're not out there alone. That if you have to, kind of start from scratch as far as looking for a support system, that that it's out there, that you're not alone, that you don't have to like, reinvent the wheel every time. And find somebody who's going to believe that you can be successful and follow your dreams. So
Thank you, Ariel. Lee, you are up next.
Um, there came a time in my life where the voices closest to me, and I love them and they love me, but they couldn't take me further because they had not walked or were walking the same road I was on. So I ended up having to go looking for people outside of my circle. Um, Not because the people around me didn't care, um, but because they were limited in where they were
Mhm.
going, right? So I started reading books. I started going to networking events. I started surrounding myself with women who had like minded qualities, picking their brain, then picking my brain, sitting and having these long conversations. Um, Sometimes growth just means that you get out of the same echo chamber that you've been in for so
Mhm.
long. Um, and then reach out to people who might scare you, who might intimidate you just a little bit, um, so that you can, you know, garner a fresh perspective on things.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what I have to do. I met Peach also at a podcast, like, oh gosh, in Philly a while back. It was a great podcast. We talked about some different things that night, though. But yeah, Peach introduces me to some fantastic women.
Thank you.
I agree with Michelle.
Thank you. Tamia,
Remind me what the question is.
growth often demands that we go beyond familiar voices. If those closest to you can't guide your journey, what sources would you trust to help you grow?
Um, well, I guess one of the biggest life quotes I live by is treat others the way that you want to be treated and lead by example. So if I see somebody leading the example that I want to lead, those are the sources that I'm going to go to and reflect and, um, I guess, initiate the conversation to get myself
Or
better. Um, as far as the voices around you, you have to be able to not be complacent in what you're doing in your surroundings. I feel as though we as people grow accustomed so much to having a witness, having somebody see our greatness, that we don't want to do this alone. So then we attach ourselves with anybody who is going to be a witness in what we're doing. So then with that, you don't want to give up the voices, or um, not the voices, the surrounding surrounding influence that you have. So with that, kind of has to happen with cutting off and knowing when you've taken all that you can from the sources that you have and recognizing that you have to move on.
Thank you, Tamia. All right, so I guess I have to answer. Mine is a little bit different. I understand where Kanisha comes from when it comes to trust, right? Because of the environment that I grew up in. But what I've learned is not to so much ask for some of the advice in difficult spaces. I'll sit and watch your life and learn from your story. Everybody's life has a story, and I learn something each time. Like each time I watch a podcast, each time I'm in a group setting and I'm listening, I'm learning. I learn from your stories. Another way that I learn, I create situations for me to learn in. So something like me creating this. and I get to hear your stories. So if I want to learn about creating businesses and I need to improve it, well, guess what? I'm going to create the platform for me to hear everything I need to hear, get the information, and I learned it. If I feel comfortable with you, then I'll give you a call and say, hey, do you mind we discuss this, that, and the third? Let's network. So that is my way of doing things. So I hope that I've helped you, Kanisha, because of the trust factor. That's a way to get around it. Create the platform, listen to the stories. All right. So the next question.
You did help, Pierce. It did help because I do watch. Because when you said, look, I do watch people. I watch people a lot. Like, I'm very observant. That trust factor to me is also being on a bunch of boards and committees and stuff, and being in society and public in the community. I watch people, and not all people are who they say they are. So I can watch you, and it's just like, you act like this, you act like that, you do this and you do that, but you really not who you say you are. And it's like, I'll just keep it to myself, and I'll just do my own thing. You know what I mean? I won't even ask for questions. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it's just, yeah, it's different. It's different. But yeah, I watch, Pierce. I watch.
Good. And in
I watch.
that watching, you did learn something. Even if they weren't who they were, you learned how to
Mm-hmm.
recognize people with those
Yeah.
characteristics.
I'm a firm believer there's always a lesson to be learned in anything.
All right. So the next question. All right. What role does self doubt play in your growth and how do you manage it? How do you manage self doubt? Let's go with Lee.
Okay, you ready for this one? Self doubt has been in the car with me my entire life.
Praise. Me too.
What the difference is I don't let the bitch touch the wheel. Right? She can't drive anymore. Sick and tired of her ass. So every time I step into a new room, doubt shows up. But instead of letting it paralyze me or make it where I don't make friends, I find a way to, get in there and make somebody laugh, make them remember me, have something ready when it's my 30-second little pitch. Um, I see it as a growth, right? Like it's proof that I'm growing if I can step into those rooms. And I manage it by reminding myself of my track record. Look at the shit I've overcome. I overcome it every single day. I don't know how sometimes, but it happens. So if I can survive my childhood, if I can survive all of the stuff that's happened, then why would I stop? Why would I let self doubt engage in that mindset with me? So yeah, her ass can get in the trunk. I'm no longer messing with her. So
I love
Thank
that.
you, Lee. Tamia.
Um, the fact that I've recognized my self doubt is probably the best growth I've got because, quite frankly, um, I still battle with self doubt to this very day. Mostly when it comes to competing in pageants, um, having certain decisions always second guessed, or having your skills questioned. It puts a little voice in the back of your head that nobody really wants, but we can't seem to get rid of completely. You can always probably put tape over her mouth, but no matter what, you're always going to hear the voice. But how to overcome it, I've literally just recognized it and walked forward. And if the the negative aspect of my self doubt actually comes to light, it's not my self doubt that did it. It's just how the cookie crumbled. I can't put it on me. I can't say that, oh, it's my fault. I can't always just say, just like, oh well. Once I recognized that it was that it's the self doubt amplifying whatever was wrong, then I can grow from it and be able to put my best foot forward and eventually win the crown in this pageantary sense.
Thank you, Tamia. Michelle.
Well, I'm a classic overthinker. When I get ready to do things, I think about while I'm going to do it. But there's always that moment when the doubt is starting to kick in, and I feel it, and okay, it's kind of vain. I have some videos where I've been interviewed and stuff, and I'll go and look at it, or I'll go read something, and then I'll go, that's right, I am Michelle M.F. Brown, you know, and I don't know who you are being doubtful. I got this. And I give myself pep talks. Yeah, I give myself pep talks because I think about the things that I've overcome. Yeah, I think about the things I have overcome. And, and a lot of us have talked about our kids. One day my son said to me, he said, Mom, one thing I know, there have been challenges in our lives, but you always found a way to overcome them. And I remember that. I straighten up my shirt and say, yeah, that's right. I'm Michelle E. Brown. And I step up to the plate and do what I got to do.
Thank you, Michelle. Kanisha.
Am I frozen?
Yes,
Yeah,
you are.
I feel
we
like
can
I feel like I'm frozen. I don't know why
we
I'm
can hear
frozen
you,
because I
but you're
look
not
stuck.
moving.
Right, because that is not how I look right now. I talk with my hands. That is not what I look, but that's my face. That's my, but self-doubt for me, I don't know why I'm frozen, but self-doubt for me is something that I had to learn to overcome a long time ago with my health. And I always bring it back to my health because I thought that I couldn't do things with fibromyalgia and with Crohn's disease. It is a big doubt in your head when you're diagnosed of things that you can and cannot do, um, not being able to walk, your cognitive, your immune system, being in society, making sure you can speak appropriately. I stutter my words, I slur my words. So self-doubt when it comes to me, I had to learn accountability. I had to learn to sit back and reevaluate myself as a person and who I was with these illnesses and with these issues that I have inside of my body and say, you know what, Kenesha, you got this. And that brought so much life into me personally to help me grow into the person that I am today. Um, it's been a blessing. Um, in the negative sense and sometimes because the pain is unreal, but every single time I go through a flare, it's a lesson that I'm learning. It's something new, it's something beautiful that comes out of it because I've learned a new way of taking accountability for myself. Did I eat right? What did I do wrong? What could I have done better to try to help myself not be in this flare? What could I do to make sure that I'm still walking and I don't have to do the things that are going to cause me more pain. Like yesterday, I went and worked out, as I said, and that's something that people who are in flares don't normally do. But I pushed through. But what I did for the self doubt in myself to give myself accountability to push through, to be the queen that I am, I said, you know what, Kenesha, I'm going to go. But I'm gonna do one set of everything instead of three sets of everything. So I did it and I struggled, but that self doubt was always there and was like, you know what? But I got this. That queen, that crown had to be fixed a little bit. It was a little crooked, but I got it straight. And it's pushed me to be the person that I am today in life and in general. So I'm grateful for everything that I have been through with self doubt to be able to push me to be Kenesha Lacole, point blank, period.
Thank you, Kanisha. Come on, Ariel.
Um, Part of me just wants to be like, well, at least it, and move on, but I won't. Um, but for real, I always think of self doubt like a minefield, right? Like you're not always ready for it when it pops up. Like you feel like you're living your best life, you're doing good work, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you know,
This is hilarious.
yeah. um, and so I like to like confront it. Like I like to kind of diffuse it, like, to stay with that bomb metaphor, to think, okay, what am I worried about? Like, what's the worst thing that could happen with this? And to be like, exactly, so nothing. Like the worst thing that can happen is and then, but on the flip side of that is your success. It's you get that. And for sure, the success is worth the potential of failure every time. Like there's never a time that that's not true. So that's how I do it, and I think and I think what that all allows me to do really is kind of to use the self doubt to really firm up my resolve to be successful, to really think very critically about like, is there more planning that I could do? Or are there other things that I haven't thought of? But I don't let it stop me. Like you can't lose momentum to self doubt, and I think that's the most important thing to think about it. And I think that's the same thing like Lisa is she self doubt doesn't steer the car anymore, but it is always there. For me, it's not sitting in the passenger seat or even in the back seat. I'm never sure like it's just gonna pop up like a like a surprise for me. But yeah.
Thank you, Ariel. All right. So for me, when it comes to self doubt, I'm gonna give y'all an insider right now. So if you ever in the vicinity of me and I scream "fuck it," then you know I'm having a self doubt moment. And when I say "fuck it," I'm running right into it, and I'm gonna push forward because I'm never gonna allow anything, any self doubt, not a person, not nothing stop me from getting to where I need to go. So I go into fuck it mode. And when I do it, I don't care. What are you going to do to me? Who's going to stop me? And I dare you.
You need to go from fuck
Mhm.
to fuck it up.
Go ahead, Queen.
That's how I do it. That's how I handle self doubt. So just be mindful when you hear it, fuck it. Oh
You
boy.
about to fuck it up.
Hey, get out the way. Mm.
All right. So we running out of time.
Mm.
All right. So maybe I should we have two more questions left. Should we answer the two or should we just take one of the two?
All right, vote for
One? Okay. So let's do the last one. What advice would you give to a young woman afraid to take risks toward pursuing their dreams? Michelle.
Um, I always tell her, circle, get a circle of people. People like Kanisha. People like all of our queens. In my circle, I have some lupus warriors. And you know what? If women who are going through tough times, Kanisha, who's dealing with autoimmune disease, Tamia, Lee, all of them, you circle yourself with those. And you know what? At some point in time, they're going to build you up. They're going to show you your strength that you're going to have a Pierce moment and say, fuck it, and go ahead and do it. But get you a circle, get you a strong queen sister circle who are going to be straight up and honest with you and put that foot on you when they need to. And sort of say, hey, look, not today. Not today. Do you see what I'm dealing with today? What are you whining about? Go do it.
Thank you, Michelle. Lee.
I think I would tell them that fear is always going to be there. It's going to be the loudest voice in the room. It will persist, um, but regret is louder. So take the leap. Even if your knees are shaking, even if you feel like you're going to puke, you're not going to be able to make it. Um, Keep going. Start small. Nothing says you have to be, the biggest thing in town. Start small. Every success that that you see out there, a woman failed
it.
10 times. And she just picked herself back up and she kept going. So just remember, you know, you're never going to get anywhere standing
Mm-hmm.
still. Everything's just going to pass you by. somebody else is going to do your thing. So your future is already waiting for you on the other side. You just got to walk towards it.
Thank you, Lee. Tamia.
Hmm. I had some really good ones, and it just got a little emotional, and I started like, um, one of the biggest things I've learned over the years as an entertainer is the key to longevity is versatility. So my thing is, no matter what situation you're in, always learn to adapt to it in order to grow and learn, because you never know what might come from that situation that might help you in the future. And no matter what somebody tells you, until you actually try and fail or try and succeed, you never know until you actually put in the effort to actually try. And at the end of it, ask why it failed, ask why it succeeded. Never get complacent, because the moment you get complacent, somebody else is going to pass you by, and then you will start to feel the regret and sadness that tend to follow from just, I guess, getting comfortable.
Thank you, Tamia. Ariel.
Um, I would sit that young lady down and get her to focus on why are her dreams her dreams, right? Like really think about what is it that you're aiming at? What are your goals? Where are you trying to get to? And why are you trying to get there? Like not something, oh, I want to be rich. Like really get into it, dig deep. Because that can get you over a lot of hurdles, right? Like having emotional fulfillment, being available for your kids, like doing work that you love, that you know brings you joy, that allows you to work around your illness, whatever it is that is your why. It can get you past tough times and get you to be willing to take risks. And I think that that's the thing is, and if you can always come back to that, you can always keep that like centered in your thoughts and in your spirit to be able to keep moving forward, because everything everybody is saying is valid, like all of these things are true. But if you might lose sight of the why, especially all of us who have been in business, who have run things, who have started projects, all of that. How sometimes like the leaves on the trees really like block your view from the big picture. And so when you can keep that like core thing center, it really helps to get through hard times.
Thank you, Ariel. Kanisha.
Now we can't hear
Um,
you.
unmute yourself.
We can't hear you. We can't hear, we can't hear
We
you.
can't hear you. No, we can't
No,
hear you.
we can't hear you.
Okay.
She said she gonna get off and get back on.
Yeah. She said she's gonna. Okay, go out and come back in. All right. Gotta love Kanisha. I know she has a lot to say.
Mhm.
No, where's your voice, Kanisha?
Mhm.
We can't hear you.
Uh, Come
No,
on, Ariel. Come on, Haley Berry.
we can't hear you.
Oh,
We can't. Does she know we
uh,
can't
We,
hear you?
she don't know what happened.
she
We
gives up.
don't know. Maybe it's I don't know.
Technically,
Connection.
she's supposed to make life easy.
Type it in the chat.
Yes.
We'll say it for
If
you.
you want to put it in the chat, the private chat, we can say it for you.
There you go. Your voice will be heard.
Mhm.
So who's gonna read it?
You, Miss Hot.
Mhm. Mhm.
The hostess with the
Absolutely.
mostest.
Because if it was us, we'd do it.
I just want to throw this out here while she's
uh
typing. If we can replace comparison with compassion, I think we're going to go a long
Yes,
way.
absolutely. I feel as though
Kanisha,
looking at
We've stopped comparing ourselves to each other.
Mhm.
That's the agenda, is to make us fight. Where we outpopulate everyone. Women outpopulate
well, for
everyone.
Kanisha
Yet
said,
we get the shortest end of the
And to be
stick. So
empathetic,
stop
you
comparing.
know.
Start.
right. Hold on. What she say? What she?
find her purpose. Do what makes her heart smile. And she's typing something else.
Oh,
And I think that that's right, to be compassionate, to be empathetic. We're doing it
Love
different, but
herself
we're doing it.
above all.
Hmm.
Kanisha, did you choose your sound when you came back in? She said, I don't know.
she said, "How I do that?"
I wonder
It's
what.
a little cog at the bottom. All right. So Kanisha says, find her purpose, do what makes your heart smile, love herself above all.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So I guess I am the last person to answer the question. So I would tell her, like I tell my children, if you're lying on your deathbed and it's going to cross your mind that you didn't do it, then fucking do it. And then I tell them, fuck it. Fuck it. Do it. Live it. Be it. And die with it. Because
Mhm.
once you get on that deathbed, you can't do nothing but lay there and think about your life and the stuff you didn't accomplish. And I can't live with that kind of regret.
hmm I heard that. Well, speaking of regret, Peach, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the IME festival coming up?
All right, I'm gonna put everybody on the screen. Well, Me Fest is coming August 24th, which is Sunday coming up. And Smack and I are going to officially commit to each other at this event at 1 o'clock. I am going to be in my fuck it mode when I get there.
Mm,
Everyone is going to be staring at me, and so fuck it will kick in. So if you're there and you see me going into fuck it mode, just kind of like say it's going to be cool, and I'm gonna say to you, well, fuck it, it's going to be good because I'm doing it. Um, a lot of fabulous entertainment, great music. It's indoor, outdoor. Oh my god.
speaking of which, can I be entertainment? I know you mentioned it. Can I be entertainment?
We will talk behind the scenes,
Bet.
Diva. Indoor, outdoor, rain or shine. Allies encouraged to come. LGBTQ plus always welcome. If you are homophobe, stay your ass at home. You cannot come, and
No
that's what it
magnet
is.
here.
Now we are at the end of the show. Is there anything that you guys would like to ask each other? Any questions? Anything that came across your mind? None.
I think
I
we
think we
pretty
were
much
all
talked about it.
very
Okay.
forthright tonight.
Okay. Great. 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 Great.
I just
So,
say, Kanisha, I love your outlook. It was different than the rest of us, but you held your ground and you made a good point. And I think that I thought that was great. I thought that that was it. You are a queen. Thank you.
okay. Yeah, I do appreciate your opinion too, Kanisha. Very positive. But then when you explained it, I understood that space, with all that you're going through. So you gotta be positive to kind of keep your process in check. I'm a nurse by day. I know how that is. So this was Queens, everybody. I hope you tune in next Monday because next Monday will be the recap where it will be clips played from each of you ladies. Y'all said so much. I've learned so much. You know what? Did anybody learn anything tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
For sure.
All
Mm-hmm.
right, so let's just share one thing and then we'll sign off. What
Uh,
did Kadisha just signed something?
right. She can do sign language.
Mm-hmm.
Or write it down. You can always write it down.
In
I
the
was gonna say
chat.
like write it down on like a
All
marker,
right.
but that too.
What did you learn, Tamia, tonight?
Yeah. Um, the toxic positivity has resonated the most with me, quite frankly, Lee. Realizing that something that's supposed to be beneficial for you can be, bad, and it goes with the phrase of too much of a good thing can be bad for you, and I appreciate that up.
Okay.
Can
And what
y'all
did
hear
you
me?
learn, Eric?
Good.
Yes.
Hi, girl.
Oh my God, we can hear you.
Hey, y'all. Hey. Okay. My bad. My bad. So, one thing that I can say that I have definitely learned from today is the toxic positivity that I have learned. That was something that, because of the person that I am and my health issues and everything that I go through, it was something that I wasn't really aware of. Like I said, I see it, but I wasn't aware of what you guys were telling me. So I've learned something. So I appreciate this podcast today for that. And I appreciate everybody's opinions and teaching me something today because as a life coach and when I deal with people on a daily basis, you guys have all helped me learn how to put this into a daily life that I can help others because I had a whole nother perspective, not understanding the full perspective of what you guys were actually speaking of. Because my brain just goes straight into no, let's be positive. You know what I mean? I know we have negative issues that bring us things, but I'm always trying to find that positive perspective. So it's like, what? People really act like this? I mean, I know people are off kilter, but still, it's just like, thank you guys for that today. So I really appreciate it. And Miss Michelle, I did hear what you said. I was on mute, but I appreciate your kind words. So thank you very much.
Ariel, what did you learn?
I've actually been sitting with the like what really came up to me was the role of like white supremacy in that whole idea about how we are what is acceptable and how we express our emotions. Like all of us like shared a story of like how impacted we have been or like, people that we've known have been by feeling like we couldn't be our fullest selves and how that really like stops us from being able to move through the world as comfortably as I think we all deserve to. So that really like spoke to me and it really made me emotional.
Thank you. Lee, what have you learned?
I think one of the big things that I'm taking away from tonight is strong black woman. I mean, I I I get mad being in rooms where people are like, well, I'm this or I'm that, or you have someone go, well, why, oh my gosh, it's the same thing as going, I can't be a racist because I have gay friends, right? So, so I, I think it's that same whole notion that it's like, you know,
Oh no.
to say, oh, well, she's a strong black woman. I know, when I hear other women say, oh, that's a strong black woman, it's not the same way as it's perceived tonight, the way that we're talking about it, because tonight we're talking about it in a negative way, right? That you're forced to be a strong black woman. You can't just be a woman. You can't be a black woman. You have to be a strong black woman. You can't be, moderate you so can't have those moderate to severe allergies. You have to have all the allergies, right? So it kind of sucks, right? And I think that sitting back and not being a strong black woman, even you know, though I want to be, I see it as a way that look, I'm 3%. It just doesn't show anywhere except for in the curly hair, That's it. That's all I got. And only if I let it grow. But it's one of those things though that it's like, why? You know, why do we have to be anything? And why can't we just be, whatever we want to be? And I think that it is sad that even like when I sit in a room where I'm the minority in the room, when you hear another black woman tell another black woman, well, you're a strong black woman, I think that that's hurting as well. So it's seeing the perspectives of it. I've always thought of it when I sit in a room that, well, that's a strong black woman there. Okay, that's hell yeah. But now it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of sucky, because it puts a pressure on you that you shouldn't have to have. Today, I don't feel strong, damn it. Today, I just feel like fuck it. And whatever lands, lands. So, I know that's what I learned today.
And Michelle.
Well, I'll tell you, I want to piggyback on what you said. Yeah, I think that it is. And I think that it's important to say that, because sometimes when someone says, oh, you're a strong black woman, you want to slap them, you want to slap them and say, shut up. But I also appreciated how Tamia brought up, she's seen it from both sides. And she was able to bring in and talk about that patriarchy. And, and a lot of times people want to question our trans sisters. And should they be in there and can they say that? Tamia, you were spot on. And we need your voice. And we need to always include all women on panels like this. But you were spot on.
Thank you, Miss Michelle. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, I've learned everything. And one thing that resonates with me the most, you guys taught me that it's okay to display some emotion. Because
Absolutely.
I will be there like, and then go home and feel what I need to feel. So I thank y'all for that. So this was Queens, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Join us next Monday for the recap where I will clip each one of these queens and we'll have a discussion about what they said for that night. And the host, I don't know who will be the host. It will be some other fabulous queen for the recap. And then we'll be back, which was, what is the date? 2 weeks from now. And I believe our host is who? Lee? Is Lee our host? Okay. So what are we going to talk about, Lee?
I have no idea. But it's going to be wonderful. We're going to talk about I think for the next 2 weeks, everyone should carry glitter in their pockets, and we're going to talk about that kind of shit.
September 1st.
Got you.
All right.
And
Well,
don't do it. Don't
September
do it.
1st is the date.
So September 1st. Go to jail.
Okay, so
Labor
September
Day.
1st, Lee
Labor
will
Day.
be. Is it?
It is.
Okay. Are we committing to that, or are we just going to talk about it behind the scenes?
Can we talk about it behind the scenes?
Yes, we're going to talk about it behind the scenes. Well, this was Queens. Everybody have a good night. Everybody throw your glitter. Tell everybody good night. See y'all in 2 weeks. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.